Eighth pick, Jordyn Tyson, Arizona State. This is a really, really fun process for us just to kind of go through this entire journey. Obviously, it's the first pick. We got plenty more to go, but Jordyn's a really exciting player for us. A guy who can play a ton of positions. His versatility, the way he attacks the football, when he catches the football, the way he can separate at the line of scrimmage, at the catch point. A lot of positives with this one, and so we're fired up.
Obviously, a lot of the conversation around him over the course of the pre-draft process centered around his injuries, health, things like that. What was it that you learned throughout the process that made you all feel comfortable with where he was?
Yeah, I think, obviously guys are going to go through things that they have to navigate. And, for credit to him, he had to navigate a knee, clavicle, the hamstring stuff that he had this year. And he battled through it. And I think that's credit to him, is his willingness to battle. I mean, he hurts his hamstring in this, Texas Tech game, and he makes the plays to basically win the game at the end of the game. And so this guy's a really tough football player. He's battled some things, and I think all that's positive. And, he worked out through this whole process, kind of recovered, and he's in a great place.
How much, if anything, did that workout contribute to you guys feeling okay about the injury history?
Again, I think view it just as like a checking base point. Those are always nice little confirmations when you see the guy move around and run some routes. Obviously, it wasn't going to be a lot. It's just a quick workout in April. But, hey, all those things count, and all those things add to, again, you talk about, hey, there's always questions with every player, and you're trying to eliminate as many questions as you can. And, hey, if a guy works out in April and shows that he's running around and making plays like that, then obviously you have a few less questions.
At what point did you stop having, what those questions eliminated for you guys? Pretty much after combine medical test?
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, we felt comfortable with him. We felt like he's, you go through the whole medical process, you go through the whole evaluation. This guy, he was ready to go.
Kellen, he was coached by Heinz Ford in college. What did you like about his blocking skills?
Yeah, I think, you have evidence on film. You have evidence on film of him, really going in there and blocking. And, obviously for all these guys coming from college football, a lot of times there's going to be a little bit more of a ask to go do it even more consistently. And so, I think to see his progress when he was with Heinz at Arizona State the last couple of years, you see the steps he made in a number of areas. Hey, he's coming in the NFL. He's got plenty of stuff that he's going to continue to build and get better at, and we got the right kind of guy to do it.
How do you feel he complements Chris's skill set?
Yeah. I think the big thing with all of our receivers, and really you can look at probably almost that whole group collectively, is their versatility, their ability to line up in multiple positions, line up in a lot of spots. You watch Jordyn's career, he's lined up in a number of places. And so certainly, him and Chris and Bay and all the other guys, their versatility is a positive for us. We're not going to be stuck in guys playing one position. Certainly we'll have home bases for all those guys, but they'll be able to line up wherever they need to.
Does he provide something that you guys didn't have previously? About now?
That's a good question. I think, I think he complements those other guys. I think his ability, again, to line up in multiple spots, I think he does a great job at the line of scrimmage. He does a great job at the break point, things that he'll still need to improve on. But, his ability to make plays downfield, obviously everyone's got the social media clips that I'm sure everyone's seen of him making plays downfield. And I think credit to him, the thing that I was really excited when we had a chance to evaluate him and kind of watch games was, their biggest games, he came up in those big time moments. I think that's credit to him that, when they go play these, the Texas Tech game, comes to mind, the TCU game comes to mind. Like when he has these opportunities to go play against, the best in their division or conference, I should say, he played really well.
He said growing up, being someone that was shorter for a long time, made him a better route runner, made him more detailed and all that. Do you see that kind of in how he plays?
Yeah, I think that's a really good assessment. He plays, he has the ability to play inside and play in the slot and play with some wiggle. You see the basketball background, you see the track background to him. I think his ability, he's a multi-sport kid, and so he's got so much more versatility in his game.
What stood out to you about him character-wise? You mentioned the going through adversity stuff, but just in terms of your meetings and conversations with him.
Yeah, fun kid, great kid, worked his tail off the last couple of years, and I think his brother's in the NBA, and it's really a unique experience, really cool experience for their family. But what's really cool is this guy, you felt the football junkie in him. This guy really knows football. He really knows the receivers in the league. And, you're asking about which receivers are you watching that you're trying to learn from? Well, I'm learning from this guy, and here's why. And this guy, here's why. And, he's got a really smart head to him, as far as the football acumen and awareness to what's going on around our league and everything. And so, it was really impressive.
Was receiver something you wanted to prioritize going into the day, or is it just kind of how it shook out? Like, how did you feel about kind of going into what you guys wanted to accomplish?
Yeah, it wasn't must do in the first round. Obviously, you understand, hey, these first rounds take a lot of different paths, and we were prepared to handle a lot of different routines or potential scenarios here. And this one turned out great. We were fired up to get Jordyn, and so we got plenty of work to do. We got plenty more picks to go through as we go through this whole process the next 2 days, and so it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Kind of an
along
idea
those
that's
lines,
been
if
like
you-
thrown about is the organization wanted to make sure Tyler has all the tools at his disposal to be successful. Was that something that y'all were thinking about in this process, like surrounding the quarterback with the talent?
I think that's an important aspect. Obviously, we feel good with where Tyler's progressing, and anytime you can add pieces for him as he continues to grow, and especially, a lot of these guys are younger guys that are, kind of work together for a number of years, certainly we anticipate. And so this is a great add to that group. And so we got a lot of other work, got a lot of other things that we want to accomplish through the next 2 days, but I thought it was a good step.
in that cloud that you usually get to as your pick is approaching? I mean,
Yeah.
was it like a receiver and then multiple other positions, or I mean,
Yeah, we had other positions in that discussion point there, and so a few different scenarios we can go through. But again, I think the Jeff and Mickey and the whole scouting department and executive group, I mean, we go through all these scenarios. I mean, it's really a watch it go, and we've already talked through the scenario. There's not really a negotiation or a discussion about it. We've gone through these scenarios. If this is what it looks like, this is what we're doing, and we felt really good about Jordyn.
There was a lot of buzz early in the day that you guys could possibly trade up in the first. How accurate was that? And did you guys get close at all at moving inevitable?
Mickey's always calling people, checking in on things, navigating this thing. He's, the best at doing that. And so, I think he just does a really good job of keeping an eye on the league and understanding what the opportunities present themselves.
maybe it wasn't specifically by design, first few hours of free agency to go guard and running back, and then add the tight end, now add the receiver in the first round of the draft. But adding all those pieces in your first full off season, I mean, how much do you think that's going to help you implement your vision for this offense?
Yeah, those are all, I think the big thing is they're all awesome people. They're really good football players. They'll be great in the locker room. We want this group to come together and work together. And that includes, all three phases of this team. And so, again, there's plenty of acquisitions we got to keep working through here the next couple days, and we'll continue to do that.
When he came here on his 30 visit, was it the football junkie part that stood out the most, or was it something else maybe from that visit that really stood out to you?
Yeah, my exposure, again, when you go through these 30 visits, they experience just about our entire building. They go through, they meet with everyone. My exposure was really getting to know Jordyn as a person a little bit more, because the combine's a really fast conversation. It's 20 minutes and you're out. It's first impression and that's about it. So getting to spend some time, getting to know him a little bit more as a person, hearing his story. But I thought the football junkie part was cool to me, just getting to know, where his mind was. And so, his brother's in the NBA, and that's awesome. And it's a really cool experience. He loves football. He loves football. And so, credit to him.
Not to harp on the injury thing, but just from a process standpoint, how involved is like Ted Rath, for instance, in terms of building out a plan for this potential draft selection as you're leading to this point?
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort. Obviously, we go through the medical evaluation phase of this, have those conversations. Obviously, Mickey and Jeff have to kind of navigate that. They've done that for a long time, and so they have to feel comfortable with where that's at. And then, once we acquire these guys, it's about building plans for these guys to be successful. And certainly, to be successful, you got to be on the field. And so, Jordyn will be ready to go.
Was there any information you received that made you feel comfortable with that he could be healthier at the next level? Like with Tyler, for instance, last year was he just had broken bones, so it wasn't like ligament stuff. And you have a player like ligament stuff. Like, what made you guys kind of comfortable that it's not going to happen? Maybe as frequently as
Yeah, obviously this was, he had a hamstring issue last year, and it comes up, and there's probably no player that's immune to that. Those things happen, and then he kind of tried to fight through it, and it just kind of lingered a little bit, and those things happen. And, a couple of the other injuries, I mean, Tyler was an experience. There's some things that, there are unfortunate things that happen in playing football, and there's risk associated with football. always when you play, and a knee or a clavicle or some of those things. And Tyler navigated that in his college career as well.
With Jordyn, we see the twitchiness, the explosive plays, all those things. But is there anything maybe a little bit unheralded about him that maybe stood out to you all? That's kind of stood out in addition.
I thought, again, I think the release pattern. You saw that his releases, his ability to attack the football. He's very focused on the football at the catch point. He attacks the football. I enjoy all the little things. I enjoy that he's always looking to find someone to go block. When it's a run play and the ball's going over here and he's turning to go find someone. You can see him celebrating his teammates when they score. All those little things, to me, those are all just confirmation that you're getting the right kind of guy. And so, we're fired up.
Is he a candidate to be a return specialist as well?
We haven't gone that road lately, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, he's got experience in it, and so we certainly have a number of guys who've done that before.
For those of us that have to do live shots tomorrow, I have an ahead question here. How excited are you about tomorrow? And when you look at the board, do you feel like there's an abundance of talent for you all still in rounds 2 and 3?
This is the fun part. Yeah, the first day you get one pick. It's very exciting, but then we get and sit there and watch all these things happen. And so we're continuing to build. We got a number of acquisitions to make over the next couple of days, and this is about building a team, and this will be a lot of fun.
So Kellen, when you get a player like Jordyn, he goes from a 3-star athlete in high school to the 8th pick overall. What does that say to yourself?
Yeah, he's just an awesome kid. His journey, what he's done through his high school career, playing at 3 different high schools, navigating a bunch of stuff there, going to Colorado, for whatever reason, just doesn't quite, work out the way you certainly hope it does. And he goes to Arizona State again. I think just, these guys who've, navigated stuff, been resilient, have a ton of toughness. They love football. You get a bunch of those type of guys, we'll be just fine.
You mentioned something that Jeff had said at the combine to try and get under his skin, or what he was talking about, or elaborate?
I don't know specifics. You can ask Jordyn probably next time, but Jeff always likes to poke the guys a little bit, have a little bit of fun, ask him, maybe about a little bit question about, his experience in college football and kind of, see how they respond. Jordyn was great.
He did mention that he was able to sit down with Chris when he took his visit. Is that typical that you would have a potential draftee meet with a star at that position?
Not necessarily. Kind of happened. He was walking through the building and saw Chris, and so again, those players, a lot of these players have relationships outside of even before they become teammates, and so I don't know all the details there, but I know they were, Chris happened to be in the facility that day and crossed paths with them, and I know he said he saw him, and that's a good group right there.
Nicky mentioned he obviously elicited the advice of someone like Tyler Chutnam and someone like Chris Bell, who was his teammate in college. Yeah. But when it came to the receivers you were evaluating in this draft, did you pick the brain of Tyler on guys like Jordyn?
Certainly with Chris's experience, that's a guy that he's played with, and so certainly you're going to want to get to know his experience with him. I think Tyler felt good with our process. He understood that we'll figure this out at some point, over the next few days or through the off season, as far as trying to acquire more guys, and so that's all part of this process. And so Tyler's been great.
Touched on it earlier, but how much better do you think you guys got in offense this offseason?
Yeah, I think we brought in some really high character players. They're really talented players. And I feel like this group, there's a ton of work to do. There's a ton of work through an off-season process. You can acquire talent all you want. It's all got to come together, and everyone's got to be on the same page. And so that's the work that we get to do moving forward. And so, we just got to keep going.
Do you prototype NBA ties? Is that
yeah, that's right. You do like the NBA. Yeah. Hey, it doesn't hurt. You can see some crossover moves with his release pattern, so you can certainly see him playing basketball, probably shooting hoops with his brother growing up. You can see some of that.
You mentioned that Jeff likes to do that with prospects, right? As far as maybe poking a little bit. How much does maybe that reveal the way that they're able to take that, and maybe the way that they even respond to some of that?
Yeah. Hey, any chance we get to spend time with these guys, it's awesome. You get to know these guys as people. Obviously, we watch plenty of film, but hey, we draft these guys, we're bringing them in, we spend a lot of time together. And so we want awesome guys that we love being around here. And so, Jeff does a great job with this process. He's really thorough. He's really detailed. He knows these guys inside and out through their whole college journey. And so, especially with these guys transferring and just being around a lot of different coaches, there's just so much more movement in college football nowadays that sometimes it's fun to just kind of connect the dots of, okay, how did this process go for you, and this journey and how you got to this point. And so we like to dig on all that sort of stuff with these guys.
What is his, like, you mentioned him, like, rising to big moments in games and stuff, but, like, was that kind of, and I know there are plenty of players that do that, but, like, was that an outlier in that regard to you, involved, like, the receivers you scouted during this process, or, like, was it something that separated himself through the process?
Well, I think certainly most of these guys, I mean, the guys that I would probably imagine the guys all that went today, I mean, they had their moments. They had their moments in big-time games. But again, as we went through Jordyn's thing, I thought those were big-time opportunities to showcase him against the best guys that he went against, and he's done it for a couple of years now at Arizona State.